AI is very much at the center of our core offerings. I say that because of that 5-year outlook of like, we may be replaced as traditional consumers and models will talk to models. But in the interim, it's like we can do so much with understanding a brand and reflecting back what that brand stands for in consumers' minds through AI tools. And because that's how people are increasingly using AI. So it's at the very much core of our offerings. Now, it doesn't replace what we would believe, to go back to your earlier point, it doesn't replace the nuance and the understanding of human beings yet. And that's the crazy, scary thing about AI is that we all in the industry who are like, get off my lawn, we're going to protect our subject matter expertise about like really understanding and only being able to we're the only ones that can understand humans because we're humans. I would argue that is a bias that is a protective bias. But with AI, those models will learn. And we should be careful that to believe that we're the only ones that can be as intuitive as we've been historically. And some of that is this crazy notion that human beings and the decisions that they make are binary, that they're logical. And the reality is that we're not. Like human beings are beautifully illogical and non-binary and impulsive. And that's been the crux of, to bring it back into your world, like how do you justify marketing investment when you're trying to generate some sort of some sort of bottom line business outcome, e.g. like a transaction or a purchase. And the reality is that for 50 years, we've never been able to do that. We've gotten better at it. But Eric, why you buy a bar of soap or a soda or a beer or a car is not a linear thought process, right? There's a series of steps that you go throughout that decision buying process that are illogical, that aren't linear, that aren't sequential. And AI is going to get really good about threading those needles, but it's still like the human mind is a complicated place and the human heart is a complicated thing, both of which influence why and how and when and where and why you buy something. So marketing is this fascinating thing, which goes back to, and then I'll stop. Like when I first started to get into the business, advertising for me was about being like a commercial artist, and it was about making commercials and write digital ads. And it was like I'd wanted to be an artist growing up, and I was, my parents were like, "That's not going to pay the bills. Like you could be a starving artist in Manhattan." I grew up a Long Island kid, but like, the spigot's being turned off, and you're gonna have to do this on your own. And I was like, can I be a starving artist in New York? And it was like, well, the answer was no. And so I sort of did the next best thing, which, by the way, everyone in the industry had done back then, which was like you went into advertising if you wanted to be some level of artist, right? We called it sort of being a commercial artist, where you could use some of that brain and some of that creativity and some of the things that stimulated your soul and get paid somewhat to do it.